All right. Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Support Live. I'm going to be your host today. My name is Alec. I'm an interactive media specialist here at NETGEAR, so I do a lot of design for our website. And with me, I have Ben, Darren, and Michael. Ben, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everybody. I am Nighthawk Pro Gaming Brand Experience Manager, and I also work with a couple other product lines as well, but primarily Nighthawk Pro Gaming. I'm going to turn it over to Darren.
I'm Darren. I'm a technical support specialist and community moderator at NETGEAR, and I'm here to maybe help with any home networking questions that we have today. On to Michael.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael, Technical Marketing Manager. I spend a lot of time with our products, especially the beta products, get a lot of time being able to use them and beta test them. Also in my other life, when we aren't doing COVID, I do a lot of the trade shows. So I do a lot of the hands-on presentation to people. And I'm here to help answer any questions that you have.
All right, cool. And for all those who are new to the stream, the format is if you all just want to ask any questions you have in chat about product suggestions or issues that you're currently having with your products, we're going to be here to help you out. But for all those who are returning, and you all know we love our return viewers, welcome back. I already saw a couple people in the chat. Kieran, Jerry, I think Kev has been here before as well. So welcome
Kev's
back to
been
the
here.
stream. And we even have looks like a newcomer, That Gamer. Welcome to the stream.
Though I honestly think that gamer is somebody that we know that has been here before.
Yeah, don't you remember That Gamer? That one.
Oh, that one. Maybe you've been here before, and I'm just not remembering. Apologies for that if that's the case. But let's jump right in.
Welcome.
And,
let's just jump right in.
Yeah, answer some questions here. So looks like we have a technical question here from Kieran, and he needs to know. Is DHCP option 61 supported on the SX10? That's a very specific question. I don't know if we're going to have an answer for that one, but we can try.
Yeah, on the option 61, I don't know if it is. We do have an article on what routers we have that support option 60 and 61, but that's the only information that I've seen, and that definitely is not on that list.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, Kieran, let us know if
Thank
you have any
you for
follow-ups.
bailing us out on that question, Michael.
I wouldn't
no
know the
idea.
answer.
Sorry about that.
Okay, well, the next question is, and this is a fun one from That Gamer, does NETGEAR have merch?
You know, we do. we do have some merch on. I think we have Nighthawk Pro Gaming T-shirts. Where they are located is in I think an Easter egg at this point in time. If you can find it, we could.
Yeah, I mean, teams we used to sponsor used to have our logo on their shoulder.
Yeah.
if they find any of their jerseys.
Yeah, a couple of those. But let me see if I can find, the T-shirts. So
Definitely. And we do occasionally hold, like contests and little giveaways on the stream. We are coming up on our year anniversary of starting this series. It's come a lot further than we expected it to come. We thought it was just going to be kind of a temporary thing while we're in lockdown, but lockdown's been extended. So maybe for a year, we'll do a little giveaway. We've been talking about it, so stay tuned and maybe you can get some free merch.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the meantime, if we find that page, we'll let you know. Fun question for Ben. I'm sorry, for Michael here. What are you beta testing right now that you can discuss?
Right. Yeah, the current things I'm beta testing are the RAX E 500 and our new 5G mobile hotspot.
Two really hot products. Both were, I believe, award winners at CES. I know Yep, they both were. And so we're excited to be joining the Wi-Fi 6E Wi-Fi 6E gang. It's our first Wi-Fi 6E product, and we really spec'd it as high as we could. So it's going to be our fastest router. So pretty exciting. All right.
I cannot locate that, but I will say I'll do some research over the next week or so, and when I'm back in 2 weeks, I'll let everybody know where it's at.
Totally. Maybe we
But-
can even get like maybe for like our giveaway, we can do like a signed shirt where we all sign it. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Question. That's not really a question, I guess.
More comments to
Comment
more
is the
comments today.
XR700 has support for for that 61
Oh,
protocol.
damn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cold.
Dan still hasn't gotten his giveaway stuff.
Yeah.
Well, if Angela was here, we could.
If Angela was
we could
here,
yell at him.
we would yell at him, but he is not. So unfortunately,
Dan, I'm gonna screenshot your comment here, and I will Slack it to Angelo. And we'll get you your shirt. Cool. Well, it looks like we are caught up for now. Everybody that's watching, please feel free to ask any questions, as I mentioned. And if you're enjoying the show, drop a like. We really appreciate the love, and it helps bring more people to the show. I guess I spoke too soon. Kieran has a question here. More of the rough questions. Kieran's an enthusiast. We love enthusiasts.
Yeah, we love it.
Oh, Angela jumped in and says it's on top of my desk. Well, Angela, it should be on an airplane.
It should be
right
on
now.
top of Dan's desk.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So from Kieran, Kieran asks, is there any benefit of lowering your transmit power and auto RF? And is auto RF always best? Is his second question. I don't know. Who wants to answer that question?
I'll jump in with my thoughts on that.
Sure.
Lowering your transmit power, the only reason why you ever lower that is if you don't want your Wi-Fi signal going outside your home. Because there are some people that worry that their router signals are going outside and then other people can try to hack into them. So lowering the transmit power is going to lower how far out it actually goes. In all honesty, with a good, password on your Wi-Fi, there's really no reason to worry about it being transmitted outside your home. And you're probably going to find if you lower the transmit power, you're going to start having areas of your house where you don't have high enough Wi-Fi speeds because it's too far on one side of the house, but on the other side, we were trying to lower the transmit power so it didn't go outside the house. That causes areas of your house to not be that good. And yeah, leaving the auto RF on is probably the best because the algorithms inside are designed to maximize your throughput and control the amount of power that's going out of the antennas.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I would say that you shouldn't have any worries if you have some sort of cybersecurity program or something on your network or your device.
Yep.
Gotcha. I actually have a follow-up question to that that I hope is interesting to the viewers. With like computers and stuff like that, oftentimes people will like undervolt or underclock certain components to keep temperature down.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any temperature benefit to like reducing your he says, what was it? Transmit power?
Not really. I mean, sure, as you bump up the transmit power, more current's going to be going through. It's going to add a little bit of additional heat. But in all honesty, it's not going to add much at all.
Okay. I was just thinking because we always suggest to a lot of people, maybe you have an overheating problem. And we always say, put it somewhere open.
No, that definitely, the amount of heat that's being added when you're bumping the transmit power up or lowering it is so minuscule that, if your product is overheating, it's because of something else.
Gotcha. Okay. Good to know. Thought maybe that could be a new solution, but I guess not.
Putting ice packs underneath it, now that'll do it.
That. There you go.
Put it in the freezer.
We should do like a little fun project where we like water cool a router. That'd be kind of fun.
That would be kind of fun.
Yep.
Or see how like how many heat sinks and a radiant cooler on it.
Yeah,
that'd be.
Well, it's too bad I didn't still have the old ReadyNAS, one of the very first that we had, where it had the standard stock fan in the back, and I modified it so it had a cone that came out, and then a good 5.5-inch fan was mounted into the cone. So you had the ready NAS, and then you had this giant jet engine sticking out the back.
That's funny. We should do something like that again, just for fun.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we went pretty
Gamer
deep on
has
that
got a
question,
question.
so yeah. Well, let's go ahead and answer that one. Ben, you want to go ahead and read it?
Yeah, are you guys planning on making another NPG router like the 700 with multi-gig? So I've communicated to the product team that multi-gig is something that people have been asking for, especially now that speeds are can be up to 2+. And also, I think another great feature would be link aggregation. A lot of people have asked for that, and a port that can be both used for LAN and WAN, which is all great. So I've given that information to the product team. I can't speak as to like the next router or anything like that at the time, but yeah, like a lot of your guys' concerns have been brought up.
And if I can jump in and add one more thing, as far as the question on the multi-gig SFP plus port, the answer is no, not going to happen.
Yeah, that particular.
Yeah, that port, which we've had on the R9000 and the XR700, gets little to no use, especially basically because home users usually are not using fiber between their products. Yeah. So I would doubt seriously whether they add that a multi-gig SFP plus port into future home products. We do have them on a lot of our business products, switches, the rack mount stuff, but not for the home products.
I'm all for 6 ports on routers from here on out. I mean, I can't go back to 4. Like I'm wired so many. So
yeah, I agree.
I like that.
4 is just too small.
Yep.
And even at that, I definitely think like 2 ports that are link aggregated, and I would love to have a couple of multi ports as well on the router. So 2 multi ports and 4 regular gig ports, and then if you can aggregate, would be amazing.
Yep.
That'd be my ultimate, and also probably like 59 LEDs.
Right.
And
little runway lights going down.
It probably uses like 220 power at that point in time, but yeah, like I would love to have like a little LED screen that tells you your network speeds right on the top of the router.
That could be really cool.
That's why I'm not a product designer.
Well, I bet you could jury rig that, get a nice little digital counter that uses Ethernet, and then pop that into one of the ports to have it pull information out of the router itself.
You are dangerously coming up my alleyway of like hacking.
Exactly.
And circuit bending and stuff. So we better put that on the list too.
Yeah, that could be kind of cool. Or we could even like have that as like an accessory. Maybe you could add it to any router. That could be kind of cool.
Yeah, where it plugs in. Ooh, that is a good idea. Write that one down. Give me the monthly employee bonus.
There you go. All right. So the next question is, when is the XR500 coming out of beta into full Duma OS 3 compatibility?
I'm hoping it's like okay. So that gamer is your comment hopefully before summer. I'm hoping that it's very soon. But I haven't heard anything at the moment. So let me contact and talk with the guys on the inside, and maybe I can get some information for you guys.
Okay.
I saw Vanessa Kitty wants a router based on a giant Jolt Cola can.
That could be kind of fun.
That could happen. Actually, could put it in a giant can.
But all I can say is Jolt Cola in a can. No, it's best out of bottles. Yeah. I used to know the greatest liquor store you could go to and get Jolt Cola in bottles. Every time I passed through that town, I'd pick some up on the way.
Well, that's like Faygo. Faygo in the Midwest is super cheap, and you can get it like 59 cents for a 2-liter.
Mm-hmm.
On the West Coast, you put it in a glass bottle, and suddenly it's premium.
Exactly.
From Detroit.
Okay. All right. We have some more questions here. One from Vanessa Kitty. What speeds are fiber lines capable of? 10 gig, right?
Normally if you're talking about like the SFP plus ports, it's usually 10 gig. And in fact, when the R9000 came out, I actually set up a demo where I took the fiber port, converted it over into copper to plug into one of our 10 gig switches that then went into a 10 gig port in one of our Ready NASs. And I had virtual drives on the Ready NAS that I was running everything off of. So basically it acted like my data drive for the PC that was hooked up. And it was really fast, very cool. I was able to play games on it really well.
I was just reading that the record is 43 terabits or something, or terabytes on fiber. So I think there's a big ceiling for the future, but that's probably an extreme condition what they did there.
Mm-hmm.
But in the largest commercial happening right now is 100 gig.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty
but it's all
impressive.
light, so you can put a lot of data in light.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's a question from that gamer coming up. So,
what VLANs?
Yep.
What do VLANs do on the XR500?
Now, VLANs are not my particular specialty. So, Michael, do you want to, or Darren, do you want to take a swing at that one?
Darren, do you want to jump in, or I can?
I'm not good on those either.
The VLANs, basically you're creating virtual LANs, so separate subdomains, separate networks within your local network. And the main reason to do that is basically to separate the common traffic between devices. So for instance, if you have a bunch of your security cameras that are constantly pumping data through onto your network, you might want to put all of those on its own separate VLAN, so other devices aren't having to at least look at the packets that are going by and deciding whether or not that information is for them. But it's just a design to separate common traffic. You can still bridge VLANs, but in general, basic things like if you're doing broadcast messages, those are normally limited to the local LAN that you're in. So if you have two VLANs and you broadcast message on VLAN 1, that information isn't going to be propagated over to VLAN 2, where the devices have to listen to that information being sent to them and actually do something with it.
So, as Rick Long just pointed out, VLANs are good for taking your Internet of Things crap and just getting them off onto their own area.
Definitely. I think that's probably
there's a lot of low-level traffic with the Internet of Things. Those things are usually constantly sending information around. Even if it's only a little bit, they're still constantly doing stuff. Like your A devices, I won't say its name, is constantly listening to you and then making decisions on stuff that you're saying, even if you're not trying to trigger it.
Totally. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the best home use case is for IoT devices, especially because they're becoming so much more common and people's homes are getting more and more constantly. So good question. I like that one. Another question we have here is from Dan Tuma that we skipped over a little bit. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. Basically, Dan's asking, what are some settings that he can change on his CM1200 and his AX5400 that will speed up his internet?
There really isn't anything that you can do that's going to be speeding up the internet, because all of that is going to be controlled through his CM1200. And that firmware is actually controlled by his ISP. So even if you buy our CM1200 from us, the actual firmware packet that is on there is going to be pushed out from his ISP, and they're setting all of the settings on that. So there really isn't anything that you're going to do on it that's going to help speed up your internet even faster. And most of the time, the only time you'll make changes in there is if you're troubleshooting it because you're having problems with your internet. And then it's usually in conjunction with working with their tech support, and they'll tell you to go and change some values, and then they're going to test the responses from your modem. But honestly, there isn't anything inside the modem you're going to change that's going to affect the maximum speed of the internet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and We could have a firmware ready for like the modem, and ISPs usually kind of trickle those out. So a lot slower than what we would if we were given the firmware. So sometimes, it could take, the firmware could be 6 months to a year behind.
Yep, or more.
Yeah,
Depending
or
on
more, depending on the IP.
Yep, and just how much they're making money, from their customers anyway. So there isn't a lot of impetus for them to upgrade their firmware unless there happens to be a problem with the firmware. Or they roll out a new feature, like they go from DOCSIS 3.0 to 3.1, and if their modems can support 3.1, then they push out a new firmware. Most of the time, though, there's not a real incentive for them to actually constantly upgrade it, because it means something could go wrong, and then it's support costs for them. So when it's basically, if it ain't broken, they don't want to change it.
Right. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question, Dan. The next question here is from Places and Spaces 35, who says, MTU on routers are usually set to 1500. Would there be any reason to lower it? I've seen people change it to 1460 due to packet fragmentation. I'm not too familiar with MTUs. I don't know if any of you guys know about that.
Yeah, basically it's the packet sizes that the router is using to send information. And the larger the packet size, the more information that can be sent at once. The problem, though, is that if the device on the other end can't handle that large of a packet, or is having problems with that large of a packet, then you end up having your packet getting fragmented and broken down and having to be resent, and then your performance, you actually take a performance hit. And Places and Spaces 35 pretty much answered their own question right there on turning it down to 1460-ish due to packet fragmentation. Is the only time you change it is when you're actually having your speed performance hit, because you're getting fragmented packages. And one of the troubleshooting things you can do is drop it down to 1460, 1450, and see if that doesn't take care of the speed hit that that's being caused by the fragmentation. But it's more of a troubleshooting thing than anything else. In general, you shouldn't have to change that.
Yeah, I see this happening mostly with DSL connections, where customers have to change this more than anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't know anything about that, so that's pretty cool, actually. Okay. So the next question here is from Vanessa Kitty, who asks, what is the maximum size USB you can plug into an R9000?
Oh, because the question is about Plex.
Mm-hmm.
Running a Plex server off of it, I think, as well.
Yeah, and I know that I plugged in a 4 terabyte drive into it and had no problems with that. And I've used it as a Plex server in the past, and it works very well. There are a few limitations on it, mainly in if it has to do transcoding. Then the larger files, it can't transcode to larger sizes. But other than that, yeah, it works really well. I switched over and started using the ReadyNAS, because then it's basically dedicating its processor to do all the transcoding, so there's no limitations. But yeah, at least a 4 terabyte. I'd have to look up and see if they ever tested anything beyond that. But yeah, 4 terabyte I've used on mine.
Yeah, we have a KB out there with a list of stuff that we have tested that does work, but we can't test every hard drive and manufacturer size on the router.
No, and it gets harder and harder over time because you get larger sizes. You have to test it from multiple hard drive manufacturers, and it becomes this never-ending spiral.
Cool. Okay. So next question here is, did I miss this? Oh no, I did not. Okay. From Mando Martinez, who says, "Hey guys, not hardware related, but my wife clicked a fake USPS email from her phone while connected to Wi-Fi. Fortunately, Armor stopped it. That's awesome that Armor stopped it.
That is awesome.
Yep.
He factory reset the XR1000 and reset passwords. Is there anything else that Mando should do?" I think you should be pretty good after that.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't don't click on anything else.
Yes.
But no, you should be fine because your cybersecurity armor stopped it. So I don't think that it leaked. If it stopped it, it didn't leak anything.
Mm-hmm.
So factory resetting your router and changing your passwords is a great additional step.
Mm-hmm.
I would say precautionarily, if that is a word, I would do the same. But is it super necessary? Probably not 100%. But it's always better to, with cybersecurity. I always feel like it's better to err on the side of doing too much than not enough.
Yeah, it sounds like you went above and beyond,
Yep.
which is great. So you
Yeah.
should be good.
You should be fine, man.
Yeah. Glad that armor worked for you, though. I think it's pretty satisfying when, I mean, obviously you don't want to click on links like that, but when you accidentally do and you get to see that you were protected, that's awesome. Okay. That gamer asks, how do VLANs help security-wise? I heard the IoT devices don't have protection. Is that true? I can't speak to that first question, but most IoT devices, pretty hackable.
Yep.
Not a lot of protection baked into those devices.
Not at this point in time, and you probably won't see that sort of level of protection until something,
catastrophic happens.
Catastrophic happens, like somebody's fridge shoots ice cubes at somebody.
Yeah.
But until that time, I don't think the manufacturers are looking too much at hardening any of those devices. They're really just trying to get adoption and usage of them, and if they can, smart Wi-Fi my toaster so it tells me that my bagel's ready. They're going to do that, but I don't think that they're going to think about bagel security.
Yeah.
And they really think that the rest of the stuff in your network is actually handling the security for you, mainly
Exactly.
your router. And if you have something like Armor, that's what's they're
Mhm.
falling back on them and saying they're taking care of it, so there's no reason for us to add the additional security in there.
Right.
Exactly. And would a VLAN protect you on that? Yeah. It's still keeping things separate from the rest of your network. So yeah, in a way, yes. But I think the main thing falls on, do you have some sort of cybersecurity for your network, like Armor?
Yep.
I mean, once a hacker's in, it's just going to be a little harder for them to find your IoT devices if you have VLAN set up. But still,
and also with the VLANs, if a device does get infected, a VLAN can help separate or limit the amount of infection in your network, because a lot of times when something gets infected, it's basically it'll then try to infect other things on the same local LAN segment that you're in, basically the same IP scheme. And so if you have multiple VLANs, then at least for some sort of infections, it can be limited just to the devices within that VLAN, and it's not going to cross over into the other one.
Right, you can use it as like a digital bulkhead.
Yep. Well, an example is if the virus was able to do just a generic ping to find out what other devices are on the network, it would only see those that were on that VLAN. It wouldn't know that there's another VLAN there and additional devices are connected there.
Yeah, so you could use that to really kind of like compartmentalize a total network failure. So super. See, this is the kind of stuff that I love, and I love about this particular show, is that we can get into some crazy stuff like this.
Definitely. I think. Oh no, we're not quite caught up. I thought we were caught up. Okay, question from that gamer. When will WireGuard become a standard / fully functional feature where VPN providers like Proton support it? The reason I ask is because NetDoom Fraser told me they're considering adding WireGuard to XR500.
So if NetDoom Fraser told you that they're considering, it's in very early stages. I can say that.
Yes.
Okay. So probably not for a while.
Probably not for a while.
It'll take some time.
I would say don't hold your breath. don't bank on it, I guess.
Okay, so this is a cool question, and I think there's a lot to jump into. Um, okay, well, I don't want to skip people.
Yep.
So the first question was from um, Quarry Quarryra. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Best practice to stack the M4000 series switches. This is a fun question because one, they are stackable, so you can't put them in a rack. But two, one of the great design features of the M4000 series, namely the M4250 series, is you can mount them backwards and forwards. You can mount them either direction. They're designed to be mounted that way. And we include the mounting gear with the switch, which is just a nice little touch. But the best practice, I don't really know the best practice. I think it's almost preference if you want to mount them forward or backwards. I mean, are you trying to build like a very aesthetically pleasing setup? In which case you can mount them backwards. The the side without the ports looks very nice.
Yeah.
But if you want more accessibility, you can mount them forwards with the ports on the front. So it depends. If you're going to do kind of a set it and forget it kind of setup, maybe mount it backwards and have the nice LEDs in the front. But if it's something you're going to be doing a lot of maintenance on, I would suggest mounting them with the ports forward. Um, I don't know. I've never answered an SMB question, so please jump in if I'm wrong.
No, I
was
think
good.
that makes sense. Best practices. Also, with any devices, these devices generate heat. Make sure that there's plenty of airflow around each particular device.
The ventilation
yeah.
on those stackable switches typically are not up and down. It's usually the vents are on the back by the ports typically.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
definitely like if you have the ventilation like facing backwards, you don't want to put it like right up against the wall. Kind of a similar rule as we have for all of our routers, which we talk about a lot on the show. So
It looks like it's on the side. I see
oh, it's
fans
on the
on the
side
side
here.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the side as well.
Well, then don't put it in a corner.
Yeah, I would. Just make sure that they're all breathable and however you want to display your stack, whether you want the clean side or the look at the technology side is really.
And also, depending on where you're actually going to have them, stacking, vertically, if it's in, a standard room where your ambient temperature is, 65 to 75 degrees, basically in a normal home, then you probably want to leave a space in between each one when you're going vertically, just so you get a little bit more airflow. Most of the time when you stack these on top of each other, like any switch, it's inside a wiring closet that has air conditioning to it, or it's inside a room that's fully air conditioned and the temperature is probably down to, low 60s. Yeah. So it really just depends on where it's going to be. Like if you put it in the garage in the middle of winter, stacking each one on top of each other, you're never going to have to worry about heat. But as soon as summer rolls around and the garage suddenly, hits up to 95, 100 degrees, then you probably wanted a little bit more airflow. So it depends on where you're putting it and what the normal temperature would be or average temperature would be.
Totally. All good advice
Wire management
for a great question.
Wire management is also important. Make sure you have everything labeled and you don't confuse what you have plugged in. And you can look up pictures of crazy wire management on switches and see how neat they are.
I think there's like a subreddit specifically for like nice, like there's like an r/cable management subreddit.
Yeah. There's an art and a science to that, and it's. I always feel like it's a quest for perfection, but I never seem to achieve it.
Well, I know I had a job that I had to go out and do in Chicago, and it was on a business floor where each of the offices was rented out to a different business. And they had one wiring closet that handled all of the offices. And the desk receptionist was the one that actually took care of hooking up new connections for the various offices. So she'd go into the wiring closet, you jump, wire from, switch A to switch B or whatever. I went in there and looked, and it looked like spaghetti. No one had tried to actually do anything to organize it. And over time, it was just, well, I got to patch this port here over to that port there. I wanted to go through and just cut a line straight up all the wires, remove them all, and put new ones in. It was a mess. So good wire management definitely helps in the future, especially if someone else has to come in and deal with it.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Totally agree. It can get messy. Want to avoid that as much as possible.
Going back to our stack, and we'll come back to Kieran and that gamer, but going back to the stacking question, to clarify, it's stacking as in interconnecting them for a 10G back one and redundancy. So interlinking them in order to have some level of redundancy. That is beyond my technical expertise because that's more of a business side product. But anybody want to take a swing at that?
It sounds safe to have redundancy. So, I mean, if you're willing to get the extra gear to have redundancy, it's always a good idea to have redundancy, especially if we're talking about storage here. But yeah, I can't really speak much to that personally.
Let's see.
Okay, well, let's go to the next question here. But before that, we had a good joke from that gamer who says, "How to stop coronavirus? Socially distance the infected people using VLAN, virtual location area, and masks." I think that's a good idea. Let's do that. Okay.
You know, viruses spread over computers.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
Maybe
so
we
all
could
of us should be
employ...
wearing a virtual mask right about now.
Exactly. That's what armor is, pretty much. A virtual mask.
Yep.
All right.
So I'm looking into this redundancy, and I'll get back to you in a minute.
Okay, we'll loop back to that question. But this is a really fun question. I think we'll have a lot of discussion around it, which is great. Kieran asks, how long do you think it'll take for cloud gaming to go more mainstream? My thoughts on this is it was getting pretty mainstream, and then the PS5 and the Xbox One came out, and it feels like it kind of just fell off because everybody saw the new shiny thing and went, "Oh, I want that." I think it'll come back to the mainstream between this generation and next generation of the consoles. That's my opinion. I don't know. Darren, I saw you nodding. I think you probably have a better informed opinion than mine.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever go mainstream until like Microsoft's like, yeah, we're done making hardware and we're gonna stream our games. And same thing with Sony is they're like, oh, we have the infrastructure to not waste the money putting out hardware where we can just make you stream our games from your TV that's powerful enough to just handle the stream. But yeah, until consoles go away, I don't think it'll become that big because that's who the audience for streaming games would be. It'd be the console audience.
Yeah. I just have two words for. I might be controversial on this, but there are two words that have to come back in order for any like. I have Shadow PC. I've used NVIDIA. I have a Stadia, and the one there are actually four words: net neutrality and data caps.
Yep.
Once net neutrality, I think it'll come back under the current configuration of our government. But once we get net neutrality back, hopefully we do. That means like data caps will go away. I'm paying my IP for unlimited data, which I begrudgingly write that check every month because of the fact that I do have some cloud gaming services, and I can quickly hit that cap like super fast, and that's just me watching Disney Plus and hitting that cap, let alone trying to complete Witcher 3.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to be mainstream until we resolve the data cap situation. That's more than consoles. And I think you're right, Darren, that like until Microsoft and Sony get out of the hardware business, that's probably going to be a contributing factor. But it's the data. It's the data that is the biggest hurdle at this moment.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true. And that same sentiment carries over into like high definition content, like you mentioned Disney Plus. Like, this new cloud gaming technology, it's super data heavy. 4K streaming, it's very data heavy. We're talking to see 8K streaming. So much of these innovations that are based in Wi-Fi are held back by data caps. So that's a really good point to make regarding cloud gaming and just kind of Wi-Fi innovation in general. It's starting to it's getting bottlenecked a lot. So great point all around.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm all for it because I think that it makes things my shadow PC makes my computer go burr. It's way faster. I can play games that I can't play Modern Warfare on my PC, but I can through my shadow, and it elongates the lifespan of your PC, but I think that it's gonna be a rough road before it gets to where it needs to be. So I'm going to put in our other chat here.
And you have a new Xbox, right?
I'm still.
Oh,
That's a thorny subject, my friend.
I enjoy streaming from my Xbox to my phone. I mean that experience works really well, but it's not
cool.
Yeah, like I can just play in bed with my controller that's Bluetooth that hooks up to the phone, and then it just streams from the Xbox to my phone. I can have just TV on the background instead of it playing on my TV.
Yeah, they released a bunch of PlayStation 5s and S's, but I'm holding out for the X. I'm just kind of. I keep circling, and I think I'm late to the party because it's like they're like, "Hey, we're dropping a bunch of X's on our site," and I'm like, "Okay, that's great." And they're like, "But," I'm like, "When?" And they're like, "Real soon, this afternoon." And I don't have all afternoon to go and monitor that.
I can't believe people are still scalping, and they're going to lose at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Question from that gamer: is it true that Spectrum is going to add data caps in 2023? I don't know that for a fact, but I bet they will.
Yeah, I bet they will.
Probably sooner than that, to be completely honest. I mean, the only one left in this area that isn't data capping is AT&T. I switched from Xfinity to AT&T for that exact reason. So
well, that's AT&T's driving point against Xfinity right now is that they don't have data caps, especially on the fiber end.
Yeah, I got fiber with no data cap because I have
anything
a 4K
less
TV.
than that, you do, I think.
Yeah. Oh, totally. But yeah, I have a 4K TV, and why would I pay for a 4K TV if I can't stream in 4K because I'm going to hit my data cap? So it was pretty much a must for me to switch. And I also have 3 roommates, and we're all working and doing Zoom calls, and I stream. So it was completely necessary, and it's a shame to see like so many companies doing these data caps. It's unfortunate, but it looks like I can't open the chat on Zoom because it'll block our faces, but it sounds like you have an answer for the M40.
I do.
They're going to get posted in a second here.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But Ben and I both posted links to a couple of KB articles on it.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, the next question. Well, we have a comment here from Kieran mentioning that the UK has unlimited data, and it sounds like he's using kind of a similar setup to you, Darren, with like GeForce Now. He's using that.
GeForce is great. They've been working on that for years. So
totally.
NVIDIA is actually, I think they're ahead of the program as far as cloud gaming. But I think it looks like this year Microsoft's dipping its toe in there too. Last year they showed, playing, streaming to your phone from your Xbox. So they're moving in that direction as well. I think it will eventually, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And then Haman had a question on the real quick on the AC 3200 and the AX 6000. AX 6000's Wi-Fi 6, which is going to run circles around a Wi-Fi 5 AC.
Yep.
It's like if you see I'll say this, the most high-end AC router versus the most low-end Wi-Fi 6 AX router, the AX router is going to kill it.
Yeah.
Just the technology is just, there's that much difference between AC and AX.
And just to give some context to like our naming convention, because I think this is important for everybody to know as you're browsing and looking for NETGEAR products online, is we name the products such that the Wi-Fi protocol is the first component. So AC is Wi-Fi 5 and AX is Wi-Fi 6. Yeah. And then the number after that is how many megabytes per second it can basically pass through.
So you're looking at
for all of the Wi-Fi bands put together. Yes, so if you see like AC 3200, that's 3200 megabits per second if you add both the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz bands. It's not the maximum speed you're going to get through on one band.
Mm-hmm. Right. But even just looking at that AC 3200 versus an AX 6000. So now you're looking at like 3200 throughput, but the AX is like almost double that.
Yep.
So that should kind of give you kind of a good idea of which direction that you should go. If you still have an AX or an AC router, I'd probably switch to Wi-Fi 6 this year or 6E as it's going to probably come out sometime this year. Looks like that protocol is getting pretty solid. So, but yeah, I think AC had a really good run though. I mean, how long did AC run?
A long time.
Long time.
I'd probably say 6 or 7 years.
I want to say 7 years. You know, and like N before that was 3 years?
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah, and then G was a little bit like 3 years before that.
Yep.
And then B was before that, but B was a long time.
I remember setting up the very first AC routers that NETGEAR had for a demo we were giving in San Francisco, bridging 2 of those, so we could send 4 high-definition streams wirelessly from one side of the room to the other. Maybe kind of think of the movie The Fly, trying to teleport someone from one side to the other and wondered what would end up on the other side.
No, and to think about it, that wasn't that long. It was a while ago, but it wasn't that long ago.
Oh.
And now the capability is just smashed those specs. And back then you were like, holy cow, this is amazingly fast. And it's like a drop in the bucket now.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want to kind of, button mash the thumbs up button, that would be awesome. If we can get over 20, that's only 4 of you guys. So if you could just hit that would be fantastic and get us up over 20.
Definitely.
And it'll make us happy, but it'll also make our bosses happy to continue this. Thank you, Blending with Henry. That's for mentioning that. Let's see. What we got going? That gamer.
It looks like we've got a question from Dan Tuma here.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like that gamer already answered it. I think that gamer is correct.
Yeah. Well, and also if you're using a VPN, all the VPN's doing is hiding your IP address, your main IP address from someone on the outside. But the IP address that they're going to see is going to remain the same. when you've gone through the VPN tunnels. So even if your VPN says you're actually, connecting through a IP address in Denmark, that IP address is going to be the same when you're trying to run YouTube to your 3 different TVs. So that the local app is going to send information back to their server and tell them, okay, we're watching it on this TV, and it happens to be through that IP address in Denmark. They don't care whether it was in Denmark or in the United States. It's that single IP has 3 different TVs trying to come through it. So that's how they actually know.
Also, your account, you're using the same account across 3 TVs. It sees your account on 3 TVs. It's like,
it can.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can watch YouTube without being logged into an account. But
By the way, thanks to that gamer. Yes, Jason, we do have a Wi-Fi 6. It came out in September.
Yep.
It's the XR1000. It's got Duma 3.0. It's awesome.
I think he's talking about YouTube, the television service YouTube offers, not YouTube.
Oh, no. He was like, when are we getting a Wi-Fi 6 gaming router?
Oh, no, I'm talking about Dan Tuman's question.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, I think we answered everybody's question so far. We got 2 more.
7. What would Wi-Fi 7 be called?
Yeah, I saw that AQ.
We're already at AX.
Whoever creates it, right?
Maybe AZ.
AZ.
Would
it flip? Would it be? Would we go BB?
Oh yeah, we could do I don't know. Well, we don't get to make that decision. So
no.
Maybe you should that gamer. Maybe you should contact the Wi-Fi Association and send them some suggestions. Yeah. Question from Vanessa Kitty: does NETGEAR sell external antenna for the M5? Not like dedicated for the M5, but there are antenna attachments on the M5, and we do sell antennas on our site. So if you want,
I'm actually testing the M5 with one of those external antennas. The NETGEAR 60450 is the number for it. And it's just got standard 2 TS9 connections that plug into the 2 connectors on the M5.
Yeah, they just like screw on, as I recall, right?
No, they just plug in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not even screw on. They're just slide on.
Oh, that's kind of nice. I didn't realize that. Cool. Okay. Vanessa Kitty also asks XR1000 plus the PlayStation 5. That's a good combo.
That's a great combo because you're getting PlayStation 5's Wi-Fi 6, so you're getting the benefits of Wi-Fi 6 off of the router, which means that you're probably getting a better and faster connection than if you had wired it.
Yeah, it's funny. If you're a longtime viewer of the show, and you've been around since before the PS5, you'll know that the PS4 was not the greatest with networking.
Not our most favorite toy.
No, and we'd always sing praise to the Xbox One for being better with networking. It's swapped this generation. The Xbox One does not have Wi-Fi 6, and the PS5 does. So the XR1000 and the PS5 is a great combo. All right. Another hard question from Kieran. We love these challenging enthusiast questions. I can't answer them, but we've got people on the line that can. Kieran asks, is there no chance of MPOA support on the XR1000? He wants to ditch the ISP gear.
Oh. And the answer is no.
No.
No, absolutely not going to happen because that's basically multiple protocols over an ATM network, which is what your ISP is using. So it's similar to if we were putting fiber into the XR1000 so we could ditch a fiber modem. At this point, no, and I don't think that they would be putting something like that into it.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
That's having some flashbacks of the PS4.
No joke.
No joke. God, I don't even know how we got through that particular generation.
I don't either. It
was how. Oh God, it was such a struggle.
Okay, we're gonna have to rapid fire these last questions here. So apologies if we don't answer them
to everybody
to the full extent that you'd like us to. But we're gonna rapid fire these questions. So first question is from Armin J, who says, "I'm sorry." The first question is from that gamer. What does beamforming do?
I can quickly answer that. Basically, what beamforming does is it can actually tell which antenna is closer to a particular client device when the client's trying to talk to it. And it can bump up the power on that antenna so that it's basically using the closest antenna to that client to get the best quality signal. So in a visual picture, it would be if you've got a client out to the left and a client out to the right, you'd see it put more power out on the left and right antennas to talk to those clients. And so it's basically forming the beam more towards the clients that are actually connected to it.
Cool. It looks like Wyatt Walker was kind of answering that question as well, and he got it right on the money. So
Yep.
good work. Next
Thank
question
you.
here is from Armin J, who says, is there a release date for the new Orbee mesh system that was announced last month? I don't know an exact
We haven't
date.
given a specific release date yet.
Yeah, and if I did know, we probably wouldn't be able to talk about it, unfortunately. But hopefully soon. Stay tuned.
Yeah, usually we'll announce something and we'll announce it, and then we'll have it released within probably about 6 months
Yeah.
of the announcement.
Yep.
It's probably a good rule.
Okay. Question here from Jason, who says, I know you make a Wi-Fi 6E router. Is there going to be a Wi-Fi 6E cable modem? I assume you mean like a cable modem router combo, like a gateway. You know, we can't speak to that, you know, being currently made right now, but you know, if you follow NETGEAR's portfolio, we tend to try to fill in the gaps when there's new technology. So, you know, with the RX E500, that we kind of made the top of the line spec 6E router, and we're going to start to fill in below that. And I'm sure we'll do something similar with the gateway.
Yeah, and in 6E, like to be quite honest, 6E came super quick on the back of 6. So you know, sometimes technology makes leaps and bounds at times, and there's just, you know, some technology overrun here.
All right. So we're gonna answer the last question here. If we didn't get to your question, I apologize. We did get a lot of rapid fire questions here at the end, though. So the last question we're going to answer is from Vanessa Kitty, and she asks, does the XR1000 have 10G networking? And the answer is, unfortunately, it does not.
No, it does.
That was exclusive to the XR700. But, you know, maybe that's
Is there a more
down the
advanced
road.
router, R1000 from Vanessa? XR1000, thinking of replacing the R9000. As far as gaming, that's the top right now. So
yeah, and if you're looking for a non-gaming one, then we've released the RAX 200, which is the AX11000, and that would probably be the highest end on the non-gaming side, and they're both comparable, you know, routers.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, well, I think we pretty much answered as much as we could today. If we missed your question, apologies. But do tune in next Friday. We will be here again to answer all your questions and engage with our community here. We love this show. We love hopping on and chatting with you all. So thank you for tuning in. Are there any more closing words from anybody here on the stream before we log off?
Thanks, everybody. I will see you guys in 2 weeks, but the team will be back next week. So, but yeah, thanks, everybody. Have a great long weekend if you are lucky enough to have a long weekend.
Definitely. All right.
Yep.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe,
All right.
and we'll see
Take
you
care,
soon.
Everyone. See you later.
See you.
See you later.